भूखी रहती है, खिलाती नहीं है उसे कुछ. But the reality was completely different. I remember I was so conscious that whenever I used to be taking a meeting of 300 sports students, I was so worried how am I looking, and I started wearing loose suits and flary clothes so that my build, my figure is not actually being shown to people. So I think suddenly my credentials, my skills, my achievements were backseated, and only thing which was visible to people was that how thin I am. And I think it was my negative thoughts which actually put me back and did more harm to me than other people's thoughts and actions. So of course, it did take time, and I lost a lot of self-confidence, and I was in a space where I felt that, where have I gone wrong? I've just fallen ill. But that's how you actually you go through something. So when you get out of it, you realize that, maybe somewhere deep down my life, unknowingly, if I ever shamed anyone in my future days, I will never do that, because now I know what does it feel. So this is my journey about how being fit to thin according to the world, and coming back to being fit. But now it does not matter what the world says about me, because I know I'm confident in my skin. So people have to speak, please speak, but that is not going to enter my aura. So I think this experience made me very strong. It made me respect my body, and it made me very disciplined in my system, my pattern. So this is it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanshika, and thank you for bringing focus that it is not just about people who are on the heavier side of the spectrum, as in physically, who are shamed, but also skinny shaming is a reality. And thank you for bringing out to the public. I'm so sorry I forgot to introduce one of very important panelists, Apurva Singh. And while Apurva is introducing herself, we will also want to hear Apurva's journey of body positivity. Apurva, can we have you?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Apurva Singh. I'm a 22-year-old marketing professional, and I work with my dad. So firstly, I would like to start by saying that I have been on the heavier side of the scale ever since I was a kid. And for most part of my life, flippantly or not, I have been body shamed. Flippantly, because I get backhanded compliments almost every day. Very recently, I was told, अपूर्वा तू काफी सुंदर है, बस तू थोड़ी पतली हो जाए सो तू बहुत ही अच्छी लगेगी. Well, for all those people who've been giving me these backhanded compliments, I would like to say thanks, but no thanks. Besides, why will me losing weight make me look better? Why am I not bahut sundar just the way I am? Let me answer that. It is because our judgmental society has been feeding us to associate fat with unattractive and unhealthy. Lucky for me, I have been a Kareena Kapoor fan and I've always been my favorite. Trust me, you should be yours too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Apurva. And just for the audience to know, I think when we were finalizing the panels for this particular webinar, I think one of the most difficult aspects was to get somebody who is on the heavier side and still very confident to carry the weight and just accept the way they are, because I think for an Indian society this is a very sensitive topic, and we are so grateful to Apurva to actually come on board and start talking about something which really hurts the Indian society, which is specifically dominated by how women should look and should belong to particular stats. So thank you, Apurva. Next we'll move to Tejaswini, please.
Okay, so here I am to talk about body positivity, which is the core of my life. So I was 96 kgs down to 62 kgs. Now again, I'm 70 kgs in quarantine, but absolutely happy with my life and my body, of course. As a child, I was always a obese one with a little dark complexion, which always led to a lot of bullying at school. Even if I tried doing something like joining swimming classes or any sports, I was made fun of. So I remember this one incident which really hit hard on my confidence, is that I joined NCC in 12th, and I was there at a camp. So my senior used to give very less food to eat. They used to literally give those eyes, why are you eating so much? And they used to wake me up early in the morning so that I could do more physical activities. They used to mock at me, of course. And because they used to feel that with this weight of mine, I have no future ahead. So I was very conscious at that time, even because I was heavy in weight, so I had very large breast, so I couldn't participate in any of the activities though I really wanted to. And then when I entered my college, not only my family members but my relatives, also my friends taunted me. So with this heavy heart, I never used to have many friends as well, because everyone used to taunt on me. So my journey started from there to here, and I'm happy to share with all of you.
Thank you so much, Tejaswini. Tejaswini, you brought a very important point to the forum, which is that sometimes body toxicity actually emerges unconsciously through our own kith and kin, through our family, through our own friend circle, without they realizing that sometimes that for every relationship there are boundaries, and specifically for sticky topics, advice is only accepted once it's asked for. So otherwise, we should all start displaying the attributes of empathy rather than becoming very toxic towards everybody. Thank you so much, Tejaswini. Bhavya, we'll move to you, please.
Am I audible? Okay. So I'd like to start with a quote that sometimes I'm just a girl standing in front of the mirror asking it to be Instagram worthy. We are all looking for validation at some point in time from our friends, from our families, from our relatives. So my journey of positivity is quite complex. You know, I belong to a category of girls who are wheatish complexion, who has wheatish complexion. I'm not tall. I don't have the perfect skin. I have so many breakouts on my skin. I have stretch marks on my body. I was always lean in my early days, in my early years. And all of a sudden, 10 board exams come in. I eat a lot and then I get bumpy and very plump. But that doesn't mean that I'm not worthy enough of any person or any friends, any good friends. So I've been always been, body shamed. To patli ho ja, please use fairness creams. Please use, creams to remove your stretch marks. And I've always been told, and especially with family tells me, not my parents, relatives. My parents are supremely supportive. I'm very thankful for them that they are there. But I'm always been body shamed. And now when we say, body shaming starts in the early years of a life. As simple as school plays. When we are in school plays, we are given, you're not very good looking, please, you have a sidekick role, you have a side role. And all the beautiful girls and all the beautiful, lovely looking, gorgeous girls are given the central role. And, there it starts inculcating that what is wrong with you. You start hating yourself so much so that you start punishing your body. I mean, so many, Vanshika has told the thin aspect, Niharika will be telling the acne. I've gone through all and I'm still going through all. If I say I'm in love with my body, no, I'm not. But am I accepting of my body? Yes, I do accept it. And I'm, loving it day by day. It's moving ahead. I had this wedding in December. So I hired a makeup artist and she said, okay, close your eyes. 2 hours, I closed my eyes. The second hour, I opened it and I was hideous, outrageous, all white makeup put in, like Birla Putti. And I cried and I cried. The Barat was on the gate and I was crying because I had to go and join. But it was hideous. She took my money away. She said, ki, okay, be it aisa sahi lagega, tumhe aisa mat karo, nahi karo. And these instances hit you hard. And that's where I started that I'm very open about my body shaming process. I don't care. So many people are going through it. Maybe I inspire anyone. So I'll always come with instances, many more. And over to Pallavi. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhavya, and specifically for bringing to focus that how fascinated we as Indians are towards the white skin. And though we are nowhere close to the white skin bracket, but our adulation towards white skin is actually hilarious, the way we start associating ourselves and the beauty with white skin. We'll move to you, Yashika.
So, hi, I look too fair, like you may say I look like a foreigner or someone Russian or whatever thing you want to relate me with. But the only thing people used to tell me was get your melanin checked because it's some count that keeps the white pigmentation more. But even I got that done because of the society. Like it got stuck in my head that I should get it done, checked, yeah, and all other things. So I got it checked, but the melanin count was absolutely perfect. People used to call me Surajmukhi ke isko धूप में नहीं दिखता होगा and all such things. But no, I look this I am. Like taking Bhavya's example of being into school and dramatics part, I have a similar story to tell. Once there was auditions going on for my dramatic society, and for a role which I volunteered, I performed, I gave everything to it, but I was rejected on the basis because I looked this way. They were like, they needed someone not this fair, and it's just a taboo कि आपको गोरा होना चाहिए तभी आपको कुछ मिलेगा. It's just a taboo, and here we are to talk about it to remove all of that thing. And because I am too fair, people used to stare me like पता नहीं कहाँ से आई है type, she's a foreigner, and people used to have that mentality that foreigners are easy to gain. मतलब it's easy to have them for whatever way they want to. So that is one thing that we want to remove it.
Thank you, Yashika, and specifically for bringing here that not just dark skin or wheatish complexion, but even white skin is also stereotyped all around us. We'll move to you, Niharika. Yeah. Niharika, we'll move to you.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about my journey. And so, as a teenager, not even a teenager, before that, at the age of 11, I started having my first like beginning of the breakouts that I used to have. So, like, I was really young, so I didn't really know because everyone around me, they had like this perfect complexion, perfect skin, no acne, nothing. So, I used to just feel very odd at that point in time. And I used to come back home from school and I used to like cry and I used to just go to my mother and I used to be like, I used to feel like I just didn't see anybody around me having that. And I had it and it didn't make me feel any better. And I just felt like every time I went somewhere, people were just staring at me, like looking at me and my skin. And that's the only thing that they cared about. And I like to also tell you about instances like every time I used to have a social encounter, I used to have these people who used to come to me and then used to be like, oh my God, you have so much acne on your face. Have you tried using this face wash? Have you tried, washing your face twice a day and or just going to this doctor? Like, like taking care of my skin is a foreign concept to me. That's what they thought of it. And the only thing that they didn't realize is that I actually put in more effort to take care of my skin than what probably they would ever. And it was okay, but at that time, it was just something that, yeah, it just made me feel like I was cursed and something that took a big toll on my self confidence. And yeah, like a lot of that. So, yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much, Niharika. Also, Niharika again brings us to the focus where unsolicited advice or unasked for advice is not really helping anybody. So only when somebody asks for it, please consider your advice a boom. Otherwise, it is hindering into somebody's privacy. Now we move to the second question, which is obviously one of the question which is very dear to our panel, which is that what do they associate body positivity with, or how do they define body positivity? Apurva, we'll start with you, please.
So body positivity to me is simply acceptance. Accepting that you can live a healthy, beautiful life by just being the way you are without punishing yourself to look a certain way. It is knowing that it doesn't matter whether you are fat or skinny, tall or petite, or what the color of your skin is. You're just as worthwhile as the women working on the Victoria's Secret ramp. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Apurva. Manchuka, we'll move to you, please.
Yes. So for me, body positivity is celebrating the very essence of being human, of being able, and to feel confident in your skin. It is to cherish and appreciate you as you are. As Pallavidi said, your body is your temple. Please respect it because it's the only thing which will take you to places which will give you the beautiful feature of feeling, of having an essence of things, of beings. So please respect it and love it. So for me, it is just celebrating who you are and as you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanshika. Bhavya?
Yes. So body positivity, according to me, is that I cannot escape my body, not without my choice. So I better embrace it, and embrace it to an extent that is, do not punish it. I have gone through a process where I have started punishing my body. I have, had crash diets. I've had, you know, bad people around me who are cursing me. So this toxicity with my body, I have stopped it. I've started embracing my body. I just want to stand in front of the mirror and be happy that, yeah, I am there. I can wear everything and anything I want unless I'm not comfortable with it, and I will wear it. And it's all about embracing yourself and embracing your body. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhavya. Yashika?
For me, flaunting your flaws is the main criteria for body positivity. Like, I have a mole on my right cheek, but it's on how I see it. If I take it as a mole, I will be taking it all in a negative way. But if I see it as a beauty spot, I will be taking it as a positive way. So for that purpose, we need to start celebrating our flaws in us.
Thank you. We'll move to you, Tejaswini.
For me, loving every part of your body, like people tell me because I do weight training, I have masculine shoulder, or whenever I'm on diet, people tell me kitni kamzor ho gayi hai, but I actually love it. Body is just not the exterior version, but it is the combination of your interior and exterior mind and soul. Body positivity is also not bothering about what others are telling you, but what you feel like, what your perception is. And it is my body and it is my choices how I will treat her. So it's like that.
Thank you. We'll move to you, Niharika.
Yeah, so in my journey, I've realized and learned that anytime that you fight like your reality, you just create more suffering. So it's better, like as Apurva said earlier, it's better to accept the way you are. And that being said, things just get better when you do that. It just keeps getting better. You keep going up the hill after that.
Thank you so much, Niharika. Now, for the audience, these seems like extremely confident and very positive and very accepted young ladies who have accepted their body just the way it is. But I'm sure they also have had hiccups in their entire journey. So, this next question to the panel is that how and when did you move from body consciousness to today of accepting your body the way it is? Tejaswini, we'll start with you, please.
Since I started the journey of my weight loss, I thought that losing weight would bring immense happiness in my life. But on the contrary, I became more conscious even after, hitting the target of what I wanted to achieve. I wasn't happy at all. I was still starving myself. I was still on the crash diets. I was still working out for hours. But then came a 180-degree change in my life when I was introduced to the world of spirituality in healings, and I understood that spirituality helped me to understand of the synchronality of my body and my mind. It was a time I aligned my body and slowly started to come over the consciousness I had. I removed every fear, every idea of putting on weight from my mind, so it helped me.
Thank you so much, Tejaswini. And that's a wonderful observation that you've made, that once we are spiritually inclined, and that could be any kind of spirituality, we start accepting our body, our existence as a very important part of the universe. So thank you for saying it aloud. We'll move to you, Yashika. How was your journey, and how did you realize and move towards body ownership from body consciousness?
There have been number of instances where I can recall the time when I went for a melanin test, and even people tried to call me with different names. I remember when I started my college in my early days, everybody used to start questioning me by, how do you look like this? Were you born in India? How are you so fair? How do you have such brown hair? Matlab, even they used to throw pens and all, and that used to stuck up in my hairs, and like, because I have a curly hair. So that was all I was going through. But then gradually I started taking it in other way. Like, I started taking it in a fun way. When people used to ask me, how do I look like this? So I used to just tell them that during pregnancy, my mother used to have a packet of brown dye and a white putty. So that is why I am like this. And I started taking it other way, because either way, they are not going to stop questioning me on this. And on the other side, I won't be having an answer to it. So why not take it in some other way, take it in a funny way, and just take it go? Because I have to be positive about my body, not them.
Thank you, Ashika. You know what they say is that once you start humorizing your own pity, then people do not poke fun at you because they know that you are the stronger one in the
Yes,
back.
exactly.
Thank you. We'll move to you, Apurva.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I've been very comfortable in my own skin. And as a matter of fact, I've always loved myself. But the one thing that changed over the years is the things people say to me or the backhanded compliments people give me don't bother me anymore. Just when I realized that the labels they put on me do not define my worth, I'm not just a girl with a pretty face and thick thighs. And there is so much more to me than they will ever see. I became so much more confident and stopped caring about the number of likes on my picture.
Thank you so much, Apurva. And that is so important. The kind of gratification, the kind of adulation, and the kind of, of being ratified, the kind of ratification that we are looking at Instagram likes and Facebook likes and follows is actually very cruel, because we fail to understand that life is beyond what is our image on social media. We'll move to you, Niharika.
Yeah, so for me, it was basically like a process, then a point in time. So when I came to first day of college, I think I was lucky that I found a great pair of friends. So they just helped me make everything. They just helped me make it so much better because there was no judgment that came from their side. And at the end of the day, I just made peace with the fact that there's going to be a probable chance that my acne is probably never going to leave me alone and it's never going to go away. And I was always behind this illusion of having a perfect body, and it used to be so self-detrimental, and like I used to be self-loathing at one point in time. So I just accepted the reality I feel, and I learned that my skin isn't my life, which I used to feel in the past. And so I should just like stop making it my life and get on with my life, and also ignore all the voices that used to come from the background, the things people used to say, uninvited comments, and just something they just wanted oversharing of their opinions, which it just stopped bothering me after one point. So I think that's what helped me a lot.
Thank you, Niharika.
Yeah.
And it is so important in life to have the right kind of people around us, because either these people could push us down the dungeon or could actually help us elevate our life condition. We'll move to Bhavya.
Yes. So from body consciousness to body ownership, it's been quite a journey. As I told you before, in school plays, I used to be a sidekick. You know, you do it. But it never stopped me from participating in school plays because I loved theater. I loved the extracurricular. So in class 9th, I was very small, just a teenager. In class 9th, we were having an annual function and everyone was gathering for this play, the big play which was supposed to happen. And I was quite excited, but in the back of my head, I knew, okay, fine, I'll get a small role. Nevertheless, a role, fine. So we started doing it. And one fine day, I got to know that I'm the protagonist. And okay, it was a shock. It was a shock come surprise that how come a sidekick has become the center of attention. And I started preparing the role with full flow. Yashika must remember it. And when I was performing it in front of the parents, the school, the chairman, and all, everyone was silent. They were looking at me and they were all clapping and enjoying the performance. And from there, I got the confidence that yes, my body is not everything. My achievements will have to speak for myself. I am confident as a girl, as a person, and I have big dreams for myself. And no way my body is going to stop me from from achieving it. Then I felt important, I felt powerful, I felt confident that yes, When I am delivering something, people are listening to it. That means they're not looking at the various aspects of my body, but my personality speaking to them. Then in 12th, I became the prefect. I was managing a proper house. And, those things started accelerating in a positive way that, yes, okay, I can achieve things. I'm a girl who might be very underconfident in the skin, but very confident in the ways of personality is. And I can achieve whatever I want. And in no way I'm going to stop my body. Even even in last year when I had a lot of hormonal problems, that too, then too, I wasn't very demotivated because I know better days are ahead. My faith has got so strong in the upcoming, in the years that have gone by, that I know that nothing is unachievable by me.
Thank you, Bhavya. And the first line, the first creative that we shared on the social media had a subline which said that your happiness has nothing to do with how you look. It is eternal, it is deep, and it has nothing to do with our external situations, circumstances, or as a matter of fact, how our physical looks are. We'll move to you, Vanshika. How was your journey?
Yes. So, as Bhavya's example was, so mine is similar. So one thing which I think I resonate with her is that अब जितना लोगों को हावी होने दोगे अपने ऊपर वो उतना हावी होंगे. So you have to make a stand and you have to be like, bas, I've heard you, now you need to really stop. So I think I follow this philosophy in which there's a very beautiful thing they say. They say you should learn to respect the dignity of life of others, of course, but for yourself also. And you should learn to appreciate beauty without undermining yours. So in no way I think I'm lower someone else. Just because I appreciate someone else's beauty, that does not mean I am lower or lesser. So when I realized that, this whole ghost of trauma of losing weight, which is actually, if you see in the world problem, it's nothing. If it was such a big ghost, I had to put a full stop. I said, okay, let us get out of our small pity. And that's when a lot of support from my mother, who really stood by me and who really, made me read good things, because we as a family really believe in reading as it really affects your brain. So I think there's a very famous poem from Maya Angelou, which I always quote, that's Phenomenal Woman, in which she says it is the curl of my hair, the swing of my waist, and the tap of my heel that makes me a phenomenal woman. So what she's trying to say, she's an Afro-American woman, and she's not even close to the conventional standards of beauty. But still, there are men going crazy about her. There's everyone, trying to know what is this enigmatic beauty and how are we so appreciating her. Women are bewildered. And she said one thing, that I believe in my womanhood. I rejoice the fact that I'm a woman and of substance. So what I learned from her and from my mother is that confidence and smile is the best makeup and the dress you can ever wear. And if you have these two things, you're going to shine wherever you are. So I think this is what was my journey and what I learned from it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I'd like to extend Vanshika's point. Sometimes what happens that when people start pointing one aspect again and again and again, rehashing, it becomes a strong point. I mean, it becomes your very, very strong point of your personality that, yes, I am it. So what? Get with it.
Thank you so much, Bhavya and Vanshika. And thank you, Vanshika, specifically because, you know what they say, it's powerful mothers who bring out the powerfulness in a daughter and make their daughters even more fierce to meet the various credentials of the world. So we'll move to the next question, which are that, have you as an individual ever felt the ill effects of body shaming, or have you seen in somebody else's life the ill effects of body shaming, and what were these effects? We'll start with you, Bhavya.
Yes. Okay. So I'd like to point out two aspects. So I tend to develop apathy towards the person who's doing it to me. I really tend to forgive the person, but at one point, after a point when impasse has reached, I cannot forgive. They have to know their bounds, that yes, it's a very fine line between jokes and disrespecting and body shaming. So I have been with friends of mine which I'm not friends with anymore. So I'll have to give an example. So I had a very massive accident. My whole mouth, my whole skin got peeled off, and my lips were very plump and very, very bad. And my teeth had also gone. And I went to college after a very long time. I hoped that they would, love to see me again, my friends. And they were like, okay, Bhavya, you have come back, we're very happy and all. And then someone said, you know, your lips are very, very plump. You look like Kylie Jenner. So one person said, no, not Kylie Jenner, it's Kylie Jenner. So it's a very, very fine line. So, you know, I have developed apathy, negative toxicity towards these people. Secondly, I have created one emotional gate which I have caged myself in, that I will never get a partner which I'm worthy of. Am I worthy enough to find a right partner? Will the partner romantically love me because I don't look good? I don't have the conventional body, the conventional face, the skin. So am I worthy enough of the partner? And I'm 23 years old and I don't have any partner because I have created this whole emotional cage around me that I will never get. So these are the effects, of course, not taking apart the psychological effects that I've had on me. My whole diet crashes, all the fad diets that I've had with, and hating myself. I've come to a point where I hated myself, but not anymore, of course. And I'm very, very honest in my journey. I mean, if I feel this way, I feel this way. I'm not ashamed of being someone not very conventional, but I know my looks will never stop me from achieving my dreams. That I know very well, very well.
Bhavya, honestly, I'm a little taken aback because I wasn't expecting this much honesty, but and specifically honesty to accept that, yeah, due to body shaming, we might just become we might ourselves become cruel individuals because we have gone through it. We might just have, as you mentioned, apathy towards the entire world. So yeah, thank you for bringing out that point for all of us. And I'm sure there are people in the audience also who reckon with you, and we would like to hear their point of views also in the last part of the session. We'll hear it from you, Vanchika.
Yeah. So as I said that, you know, there was a lot of mental, physical deterioration, plus a lot of loss in self-confidence. I think I was nearing nervous breakdown as I was dealing with 300 physically fittest kids in the whole of Delhi University. And it was making any simple statement towards me, you know, any simple statement would not be simple anymore. I would always look for things which are not even there. I would make up, overthink, and, you know, beat myself for something which was not in my hands. I started avoiding public gatherings. I started really, you know, posing in front of the mirror and seeing how do I gain weight. I started eating. Like, of course, I was always eating, but then, you know, now that eating was a headache. So suddenly my whole body was, I think that was the worst and the best time. Worst because I demeaned myself worse than anyone else could ever demean me. I think because I have to live with me. No matter what happens, it's me who has me till the end of time. And I was horrible to me, which I think no one should ever do. Best because now I know this is what I don't have to do ever in my life again. So this is there. And then when I was preparing for this webinar, so I did a little bit of research work and I came across this article, which is from the Healthline. And that said that women, teenage girls actually, who are body shamed. So one of the leading factors for their teenage death is anorexic eating and dieting, which was so horrible. So when I read that article, I said, you know, this body shaming is just not only stopping to shaming, it's leading to death, it's leading to depression. So this is what it is. Of course, I had difficult days, but more important to have difficult days is to get out of it. Because if one keeps dwelling into them, then I really hope that we all have that strength and courage to get out of it. It's just that we are genuinely stronger than what we think. It's our limitation and it's our mind block which stops us from that. Which I believed that after this incident that, you know, it's just a mind block, get out of it. The world is facing 10,000 things worse than you, like I said earlier. So your own problem seems very small. The universe is so vast and your problem is just like a minute dot in it. So this is what I felt and I thought of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanchika. Tejaswini, we'll move to you, please.
So as a student, it badly affected my self-confidence and I had a constant feeling of insecurity. Psychologically, it created the feeling that I'm not accepted in the society or I don't even fit in the society. And a poll data conducted in 16 states of India in 2010 that 19.3% of childhood is overweight and obese. So can you imagine what childhood would have been with these children? How traumatized it would have been. Can you even imagine? So when children, those who have been abused or bullied, it always gives them a deep wound. Even the same happened with me. So when I was into healing, I was told to heal my inner child because I needed that love, that respect, and that acceptance from my own body. So that is it.
Thank you so much, Tejaswini. Apurva, we'll move to you.
So first of all, I would like to start by saying that it is simply impossible to ignore correlating weight loss with happiness, especially because we are constantly bombarded with all these crash diets, weight loss programs, and before after pictures. Being body shamed, not finding your to. I remember when I was in school, I went to birthday parties and never even picked up the plate because I was so conscious of eating in front of people. There are times when I've been told the next time you just all the over the years. That's it.
Thank you so much, Apurva. And I think Apurva's experience is such a great learning for all of us, that how, as individuals, we don't have to practice unconscious bias towards various kind of bodies. And somewhere, maybe we do not mean to be cruel, but because conditioning is so strong, we tend to travel on those paths. We'll move to you, Yashika. How has it been with you?
I used to avoid going to public places. Like I was very much conscious about myself, about the way people stare at me, because every time they stare at me, they used to make a comment on me. Like once this was an incident back to my school days. I was walking down somewhere with my mother, and I spoke something in Hindi, and there were people saying, "Oh, देख foreigner Hindi में बात करता है." And earlier, I used to be so much like I would smash that person's face, and I don't know what I was so. I started criticizing myself at one point of time that why do I look like this? Why am I not normal like everyone else near me? Why don't I have black hairs? Why don't I have some wheatish skin tone? Like color became a taboo for me कि भाई लोग बोलते हैं कि गोरा होना is all what you need, but no, नहीं, गोरे होने से सब कुछ नहीं होता है, because you have many other problems as well. And what happened once, if I go to people like saying, see, I achieved this, so people used to say कि तुमको तो मिलना ही था, तुम तो दिखती ही ऐसी हो, तो इसलिए तुमको मिला है. Then I am like, it's not because of what I look, it's because of my talent, how I perform. And that is what made me feel low confidence, conscious about myself, and I started criticizing a lot.
Thank you, Yashika. Niharika, we'll move to you, please. Niharika, are you here with us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So for me, it was most of the times it wasn't really the fact that I had a new zit that was so depressing. It was the fact that there was like an imperfection staring right back at me in the face every time I looked into the mirror. So I think in a way that led to a rise of in fear, like in me, of being judged, like everywhere I go, of being judged by the people around me. And I soon ended up developing like a very negative image about my face. Like I became very conscious every time I had to go out. I used to be very petrified of how things are going to turn out. And even if I had like one pimple before I had to go out for a party, and I used to just think about how everybody when I enter the room are just going to notice it, like it was like the center of attention for some reason. And I feel like being face to face with such an imperfection, it just made me feel very underconfident, and it played with my self-esteem a lot. Like a lot. I used to come back home, I used to cry like crazy. And like I think not just me who's gone, it's not just me who'd gone through the mental trauma of having an imperfect skin. It's also my parents, because they used to be there with me, and they're the only ones who actually like told me that theek hai, koi baat nahi, it'll be fine, it's going to go away. Like don't make such a big deal about it. By that point, I just used to be like, you don't get it, you don't have it at this point, so you just don't understand. And I also felt that my skin kind of defined me, and everybody used to associate me with having acne. That was how I was being associated in public. So I just like resented it a lot. I Instead of just embracing it, and it just took a back seat on my confidence a lot, like as a teenager. Now that the acceptance has come, I feel like it's gotten better, but I wish I would have been more sensible earlier. But yeah,
It's all work in
that's
progress,
about.
Narika. You're doing very well, and I'm sure you're inspiring a number of people how to own their skin just the way it is, and maybe work on polishing it, but just enjoy the entire journey. Now, just how panel has discussed that there were certain handicaps they faced due to body shaming, but I'm sure most of these handicaps were not induced, self-induced per se, but were also contributing factors from the society. So would panel like to throw light on what are these contributing factors which define a sort of a perfect Indian woman body? We'll start with you, Yashika, please.
The contributing factor which goes negative is the way we think. It's the way the society thinks, and that makes us think that way. Because they think that, what I would like to quote an example from my life. It was like I went to some of my relatives' place and I was wearing shorts and all. Told me तुम छोटे बहनों की तो लड़के छेड़ेंगे क्योंकि तुम apart from her daughter wearing the same clothes, she has no problem because you look this way, that is why लोग तुम्हें छेड़ते हैं, not because you are wearing छोटे कपड़े. And they are like, it's like आप गोरे हो, that doesn't matter because that doesn't defines you. What defines you is how you perform yourself, how you show up, how you have the confidence in you, and just thinking makes everything different.
Thank you, Yashika. At the end of the day, it is all about how a woman dresses up. Whether she is raped, abused, or murdered, it all ends up on how short or how high her skirt was. So we'll move to you, Tejaswini.
There are a lot of factors. Major is the effect of social media. There's a race going on. Like everyone is showing or glorifying that how much less they eat, how many hours of gymming they are doing. And if I tell, if in my case, when I see these things, I get really affected because I feel I'm not doing good enough. I really push myself to the threshold limit, which resulted in very negative factors for my own body. No doubt I really worked hard for the body I wanted, but ultimately one day this cycle has to be ended. I can't be on various other diets on each and every day. The cycle has to get end, right? So what is the point of doing all this? Why seeking quick fix solutions? So why not adapting a healthy lifestyle? And on the online media, you can always find n number of people giving diets and workout regimes. So I mean, this is a goddamn race going on, and people are blindly following it. And I'm also one of them. Used to, not right now. I'm educated enough now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tejaswini. Apurva, we'll move to you, please.
So I think we should, as well as social media. Nowadays, skinny, tall, and fair is the right way to be. We're all constantly, fed that this is how you're supposed to be. Do take this diet, do this, work out. All the time you're bombarded with, 30-minute workout, 30-minute fitness, blah, blah. So I think that is what, the media just keeps on throwing it in our face that do this, do this, do that. And we should just start ignoring it and accept the way we are. And that's how we'll embrace ourselves.
Thank you so much, Apurva. Vanchika?
Yeah. So we all know the media and the glamour industry, what impact does it have on us, on our younger generations and older. So we are aware of that. So I'm not really going to explain that point. So what I want to say is that this notion goes long, long back to when we are kids. According to me, it is the stories which we are told, like the bedtime stories or the normal stories which we are told. I think, have you noticed that it's always the princess? Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So we've always been told that it's the princess, who's the dainty darling, who has long blonde hair, is very, meek, has big eyes. There are definitions of beauty and characteristics to involved to them. Why don't we have stories of women, of princesses who are not that so-called perfect, who are imperfectly perfect, and who are not dainty darling, who can pick up a sword and fight their enemies into twos? The conditioning of the child from a very early age is done in a manner which ends up having an impact on the child's physical as well as mental being. So if girls are associated with pink, if boys are associated with blue, how are you expecting things to come back to normal? So let me come back to body shaming. Is that if we have princesses who have thin waistline, who have perfect hair, we need to change that, because you are feeding into the head of the kid from the young age that this is it. You have to be this when you grow up. No, you cannot do that. Also, the trends which go on, they are, God bless us, especially this keto diet. So I have learned this about keto, ki keto ko to keto, because keto is a low carb diet. Girls, ladies, men, everyone, please understand this. It's a low carb diet. Your body needs the energy, your body needs the vitamins and the minerals to survive, to work, to think. So please do not, follow it to an extent. Just don't go excessively mad about losing the weight. You are tearing and tearing your body, which cannot be reversed. And also that zero waist size which started in the middle, I think that was something which was so horrible. For it was just, I don't know, why would you even need to go zero? I was thin. Maybe I fit the dimension of size zero when I fell ill. And trust me, that was the worst I ever felt. Even Kareena Kapoor, who was the one who actually said it in an interview with Karan Johar, Coffee with Karan, which you all watch. He asked her, size zero, what do you feel about it? She herself said, I'm going to never go back to that. So the trends, people who are supposed to be protagonisting it, when they are saying no, so please get it in your head, it's a no. So I think it's the trends, it's the stories, it's the media, it's the traditional concept of beauty, which is, making us feel that we're not perfect. We don't have to be perfect. Human beings are not perfect. If they were perfect, then they wouldn't have been human beings in the first place. So this is what I feel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanshika. Tejaswini will move. Sorry, I'm sorry. We'll move to you, Bhavya. Sorry.
Yes. So I strongly believe the most contributing factor in all this mess is the psychology. Am I clearly audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So going forward, there's always a Gestalt school of psychology, and I'm going to quote it. Whenever there's a dark object and a light object here, your eyes will always perceive dark as darker and light as lighter. Now, this is perception. This is there, ingrained in the heads and minds of humans. A person will always, the eyes will always see the person who is very much eye pleasing. It will always catch it, but it is very instinctive. At the same time, it is very, very deceptive. You don't know the personality of the person, you don't know the characteristics of the person, but you're just looking at the eye pleasing thing. Early years where we were told, play with Barbie doll. Barbie doll is the best. Barbie doll is so patronizing. The perfect body, perfect figure, perfect breasts, perfect everything. Why Barbie doll? I think I have an apathy with Barbie dolls. Then coming back, everyone on social media is an influencer with a bio called travel, beauty, fashion. Now beauty. Now are we really recognizing that? Are we emphasizing so much on external beauty, that beauty? We are just promoting cosmetic stuff, beauty stuff, this, that. But why? Why can't we show our flaws? I have never seen influencers showing their flaws. Oh, I have acne, or I have pimples, I have stretch marks. No, they don't. So much emphasis has been given on beauty, external beauty, that it's damaging. It's damaging to the mental health of the person who is following it. And I don't understand these fake followers who are just there for massive following. I really don't understand. And I'm very brutally honest. I'm really sorry if I hurt anyone there. But yeah, it's the truth from my side. Also, then when we see TV commercials, Fairness Cream, Garnier Cream, Pond's and Fair and Lovely and stuff, and people have come out and said, why do we have to promote fairness creams? No, क्या ये होगा कि हम बिल्कुल भटगोरे हो जाएंगे? नहीं होगा. It won't work. It's the fact. It won't work. Then we have all kinds of photoshops. Person who is very fat. I have a friend of mine. I'll not name the person. So this person, she came on a birthday and very, very heavy and plump. Okay, fine. She is. I saw the photo on Instagram and she was as patli as Vanchika then. So, things are happening. Photoshops are happening. People are just looking for lip jobs and nose jobs and this job and that job. So we are so much emphasizing on the external beauty that we are forgetting our own self. And that I don't think I can ever do it. I'll always come back to finding my own self and making my way through. Thank you
so much, Bhavya. Yashika, we'll move to you.
Can I add something here? If it's
Sure,
okay?
sure. Absolutely, Vanchika.
So, like Bhavya said, so what I'm going to support her for this. People are photoshopping to become my physique. Who is saying my physique is perfect? I was in that situation. I wasn't happy. I have gained weight. Now I think I feel happy. But that's what, because I have been fit throughout my life. So what made me unhappy was not the lost weight, that because that I was unfit. The fact I was unfit made me unhappy. People are editing, doing whatever to become thin. Please don't. I have been in those shoes. You can face criticism there also. People are going to speak. Just be happy wherever you are.
You're a role model for a lot of people, in a way. People want to be you.
We all are. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yashika, yes, you can chime in, please.
The same way people call Bhavya dark complexion, people say I am too fair to fit in. Like I have even tried filters to fit in a perfect photo. Like I was like trying this filter, a yellow tan shade or something. I even tried tanned makeup, but that's not possible for me to carry on every day, and it requires a lot of patience. I don't have. Sorry. But I've started accepting the way I have to be, not the way people think around. And it's all just a taboo कि आप गोरे हो तो सब मिल जाता है, नहीं होता. I could have, like, people could have said to Bhavya कि उसको थोड़ा सा मेरा टोन मिल जाता है या मुझे थोड़ा भव्या का टोन मिल जाता, तो we would have been perfect. But nobody is perfect.
People have problem with everything. If one fixes, then the other aspect they pick up. We can't help it.
Thank you. We'll move to you, Niharika.
Okay, so like as you guys already mentioned about the influence of social media, I feel like women are often expected to maintain this perfect illusion through social media, whether be it to conceal the pimples or the face and to look flawless or look fair, whatever notion that every person holds. So I think like people who are experiencing skin shaming, which adds a lot to your low self-esteem, it's like what really matters is at the end of the day you need to feel very comfortable in who you are. And I feel such people, like such influential people, when they start accepting their flaws as well and putting forward their problems and sharing it on an open forum, apart from just sharing about their extravagant holiday tours and how fancy they live, basically if they talk about actual substantial problems, I think it will be easier for other people who don't have such a great, like such a big voice, to actually embrace their selves and whatever flaws they have, and it was just going to empower the other person, like I feel. And be it makeup, be it not makeup, you should do it because you want it, not because you are seeking validation outside. That's what most of us tend to do, like just seek validation from the outer world, and we completely forget about how important it is to self-validate yourself. So I just feel like you need to be comfortable in being the person that you really are, and if you are lucky enough to have a voice, you should share your problems openly and just communicate, because you never know, you will end up boosting somebody's confidence in such a way that you can never even imagine. So yeah, that's
Absolutely, Niharika. It is so important to always initiate the power of having a compassionate dialogue and to share your own journey with somebody else. And I'm sure by the medium of this webinar also, we are silently speaking to a number of voices who might not till now have the itching or the determination to go out and start talking about their issues. But seeing you young women, they might today want to go and accept and maybe voice out their concerns to their respective families or friends. So now the next question is actually a trigger question. We know that body shaming is a gender neutral activity, but the prevalent norm is that women are body shamed more than the other genders, and specifically the gender that we are reckoning here is women are more body shamed than men. What are your views? We'll start with you, Vanchika.
So I have a different view to this. I think that body shaming is not limited to gender bias, as in it's a psychological trauma. So it's not okay. Of course, women are going. We all know we're talking here, but I think men are going through it too. Like there was this whole phase of getting six-pack abs, of getting heavy biceps, looking like bouncers. And I have people in my own family who, before their marriage, got all puffed up and looking hefty and bulky. And of course, you cannot maintain the same kind of physical regime after your marriage. So they lost all of that, all the supplements in their system, and now they all are bloated and unhealthy and unfit. So I think it's all share of trauma. So I did this research and I found an article by Michael Bana. It's for the US men. It said that so men who were body shamed and those who got into eating disorders, so they were admitted to the hospital, and these cases increased 70% in the past 6 years. So are we understanding that it's not just women, it's men too? Maybe ours is highlighted more because according to people there's more scope to limit and shame us, but I would say that men go through it too, because I think it's just the mentality, and people are suffering in their own hearts and they are imposing it on others. They have their own complexities which they're not being able to deal with, so you cannot complain about it. All what we can do is not let it affect us. So what I think that yes, it's not really limited to gender, and I think it goes to both the spheres. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanchika. Apurva, we'll move to you.
So I think, yes, definitely women are more body shamed than men, but thanks to our society where women are merely seen as arm candies, ever since a baby girl is born, all she's seen as is a bride, pressured to be fair, skinny and tall with straight hair and clear skin. And as for men, as long as they are minting money, they are perfect. Otherwise, there's a problem. So I think men are body shamed to a certain extent, whereas women are body shamed so much. Like there's no limit to that.
Thank you. Bhavya, we'll move to you.
Yes. So coming to body shaming, I believe both the genders are equally prone to body shaming, but women have a tendency to go and shame a lot of women. I believe that women shame women more. It's my own personal view. Whenever we go to a party, we see women just staring at us. What is she wearing? Why is she wearing it? Why is she looking like this? So it's a general tendency of the Indian society that I have observed. And of course, I like to quote a stats here. So an article was established in 2018, and the data has said that women's fairness cream industry in India is expected to rake in revenues of more than 5,000 crores by 2023. So we can just see the amount of pressure Indian girls have to look gora, to look very fair, or to have the perfect skin and body. So this whole pressure is also coming to a certain point through racism, through a lot of body shaming. The constant pressure in your head, that is kind of body shaming. That is not actual body shaming, but it is very indirect. And we have also seen the recent example of Meghan Markle, how much British media is after her life because she is an American African. So now when Meghan Markle, being a very global star, is going through it, why can't we do it? Why don't we do it? But we also go through the same process in a very subtle way, and sometimes in a very direct way also. Of course, there was a 2019 data that 56% Indian women feel that being black or being brown or wheatish have gone ahead and hurts people's ability to go ahead, at least in terms of speaking in 2019. So of course, there's always a stereotype which is attached to it. Racism always exists. We cannot even say that a transgender is beautiful. How much a big feature, a good feature, transgender has, but still, it is not beautiful because it's a transgender. So yes, it exists. Do.
Thank you, Bhavya. Yashika, we'll move to you.
I completely agree with Vanshika because for me it's almost the same because it harms a person equally, whether it be a male, a female, or any third gender. Like for example, if we say that लड़की को गोरा होना चाहिए और features एकदम sharp होने चाहिए, उसकी the same way if we go out for marriage. Like I will quote an example from my family when they were finding a suitable guy for my sister. They were like, इसका fair इतना fair नहीं है ये, लड़की को match नहीं कर रहा है. And इसके बाल कम है, इसकी ये है, मतलब not even looking at the person's career or at the background. First thing which comes up is the image, how the people look. So always on the matrimonial sites as well, people used to give fake things as well about themselves. कि height इतना है, color इतना है. लड़कों का सबसे बड़ा height complex होता है because they have been कि लड़कों को लंबा ही होना चाहिए. This is the main taboo that Indian society has these days.
That's very true, actually. Yeah, Yashika. We'll come to.
Sure.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. We'll come to you, Tejaswini.
Well, according to Times of India, survey conducted in 2012 pointed out that 80.7% men pointed out their own or others' opinion concerning weight, lack of hair, or slim frame. Another survey conducted by Thecare #Beauty Fulfillment reveals that 69% of women have suffered from body images issues at some point in their lives, and 55% women have received uncomfortable remarks on their bodies at some point. Also, 87% of women have felt scared on the prospect of becoming fat, and only 1/3 of them have attributed the fear to health reasons. Now, the reason behind all this are also the television, movies, social media being responsible for spreading false notion of the ideal female body. So ultimately, it's women who succumb the body shaming more than men.
Thank you, Tejaswini. Niharika, we'll come to you.
I actually agree with what Yashika and Vanshika had to say because I feel like shaming it has nothing to do with gender. It's if I'm shaming somebody, it's probably because I already have insecurities in me. And in a way, I feel better when I let down somebody else. And of course, like there have been instances where I wouldn't deny the fact that women are more body shamed than men, but men also go through the trauma. So I guess we're all in the same boat because I've had people in my university where if a boy cannot grow a beard, he'll be either called a vanilla boy or somebody like an incompetent man. So I don't really understand where that comes from. It's not really his fault that he cannot grow a beard, or somebody does not go to the gym, then they'll just call him useless or somebody who's just a spoiled sport. And there have been instances of balding, I would suggest, because like men especially tend to get, like there are a lot of men that I know that who bald at a very young age, and they feel very inferior about the same and have to undergo so many surgeries in order to, hair transplant, or have to get like a wig put or other things so I feel like they're also equally feeling the same way, the same notion, like how we feel. It's similar to for them, but I just feel like the intensity of how much women are shamed is of course higher, but it's for both the genders, actually for all genders. Like everyone has been shamed in some way or the other at one point in life. So yeah,
It's just how wonderful. It's actually very wonderful and endearing to see that despite it being a panel of people of women who have been shamed in some way or the other, the kind of compassion and empathy that they have for the entire gender spectrum and whoever has gone through this vice of being body shamed. So thank you so much for sharing your views on this. The other question is that where is the thin line between body polishing, in the sense that you were supposed to polish your body for it to become a better part of its own self, and accepting your body the way it is? And it actually coincides with Abhilasha, your question, where you were saying that how do you balance between being fit and accepting yourself? So we'll start with you, Apurva. Where is the balance?
Okay, so I think according to me, everything one does to their body should be a personal choice. You know, if Kylie Jenner wants lip fillers and they make her feel better about herself, who are we to judge her? Get a Botox if that empowers you, you know. You wear a waist trainer if a skinny waist will make you happy. And you know, you'll like yourself a little more, but don't do it to fit in the body stereotypes made by the society. Do it because you want to. Work out to become active, you know, or to show love to your body, not to lose weight because someone told you it's difficult to find a good guys to get a fat girl married. So that's what I feel. That you should do it for yourself, not for the society.
Thank you so much, Apurva. Tejaswini, we'll move to you.
So it's really important to have an ideal body with your own perception. If I find I can do it better, then why not? If I can polish myself, my personality, then why not? I feel none of us believes in stagnation of life. We all grow, and growth for me is polishing every aspect of my life, whether it is body, mind, or soul. With the exercises, I feel more positive. So I keep polishing myself. I feel happy this way. Body positivity is everyone's opinion. So mine is not to be stagnant, but to see what your limitations are, or to work beyond your expectations or society imposed limitations. And I'm happy this way.
Thank you. Vanshika, we'll move to you.
Yes. So let me just first try to talk about the question which is asked. So what I feel that the balance between being fit and accepting yourself, I mean, accepting yourself has nothing to do with being fit. Okay, being fit is a personal choice, and it's a good and healthy choice which people should promote, because if you fit, your organs are fit, your lifestyle is good, and you really escape a lot of problems. But that does not mean that if I'm unfit, I won't accept myself. So accepting yourself comes no matter whatever you are. But being fit is a personal choice which should be a good choice and which should be taken and accepted. And then second question is, what if someone gains a lot of weight in the name of accepting yourself as you are? So see, here comes the wisdom. We need to see what is good for us, what is not good for us. Gaining a lot of weight, accepting yourself does not mean being careless. Accepting yourself means being happy the way you are, and you should always work towards betterment of yourself, of your life, because it's, as I said, it is you who lives with yourself. So accepting yourself has nothing to do with being fit or unfit. It's a personal choice, but being fit will make you only happier, better, and a healthy lifestyle. So that was it, and I hope I answered it.
Vanshika, yeah. Can I add in your point?
Gosh, please go ahead.
Yeah. So coming to a very fine line between fitness and being, hiding your insecurities, I have never felt that I need to hit the gym, like on my own, until and unless a disease or a disorder comes in. Until I don't have a hormonal imbalance or something, I don't like hitting the gym. I don't like exercising, and that's my choice. But I'm quite happy with my body right now. I'm not saying I'm entirely happy, but yeah, I'm accepting of it. I don't want to strain my body, but yes, of course, when wisdom comes in, I really have to have the urge to hit the gym to be fit. Now that is a very subjective thing. We can't generalize things. Overgeneralization sometimes makes mess. So I think it's all very, very subjective and very personal to us. And of course, adding to one point, if someone really wants to go for a treatment, for a hair treatment or for a skin treatment, please go if it makes you happy. But then if you walk out and see, oh, this person has this, I don't have this. This person has this, I don't have this. Now these are insecurities that are creeping in. Now that is where a fine line. If you're happy, then you're happy. But then you feel like, oh, I need to get this treatment, that treatment. Okay, now the line has been crossed. And now you have to pull on the strings.
Thank you, Bhavya. Yashika, we'll move to you. What are your views?
So I I started accepting myself, and it all started from here. As I say, it's all on thinking. How do you think? Like I started accepting my flaws. I started accepting that I have dark circles or I have some blackhead problems. Like even my eyebrows are not clearly visible. So whenever I used to dress up for a party, I used to give them a pep talk in front of a mirror. Ki, hey guys, why are you acting like depressed? Like you have just watched Fault in Our Stars and whatnot, and we need to get up for a party. So come on, show up. I used to give them a pep talk, but then it was I'm just talking to myself about all this. And then I started accepting it. Okay, fine. They are of light brown color. They won't show up. And like knowing for the current video, like I was finding a suitable spot to sit somewhere so that light ekdam muh pe na pade and I do not shine out too much so that I am not visible to people or what. So it's only about how we think, not on how we need to carry ourselves. That's the only thing we need to take care of. We need to start pampering ourselves, not because we need to be careless about things, but we need to start pampering in the way we like ourselves to see in.
Thank you so much, Yashika. Niharika?
Pallavi,
Yes, yeah.
Pallavi, can I attend? So Abhilasha is asking me, why should you have a disease to hit the gym? Okay, so so it's my weak point in my personality that I don't like working out, and that's my choice. I work out only when something hits me, something which goes beyond my control. Then I hit the gym, but that doesn't mean that I have to have a disease to hit the gym. I can hit the gym right now also, but of course I have weaknesses. We are all humans. We are all trying to develop. We are all trying to evolve, and I hope I do hit the gym this year as the lockdown ends and I get fitter.
Thank you so much, Bhavya. I think one thing everybody will here agree is the wonderful honesty with which, Bhavya, you addressed each question, accepting the fact that you have weaknesses, that you might falter at certain areas, and accepting the fact that at the end of the day, we are all work in progress, and we cannot deny the fact that we can improve from what we are from day one. Thank you so much. Niharika, we'll move to you.
Yeah, as you said, Bhavya, even I used to despise working out completely. But I also learned, like, for me, at least for my skin, it had like a great change, like a significant change because of how the blood circulation came to my face, and it helped, the subsiding of the acne. So I just feel like I also like for me, body polishing,
Sorry.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so the concept of body polishing is basically working on yourself and adopting those things, and basically just coming out of your comfort zone and working on the things that you wanted to do in the past, but you've still, desisted from doing. And also I feel like we're all powerful women. Like, being a powerful woman is ultimately being able to sit with your experiences of vulnerability, and that's what perfection and everything about that's what perfection to me is, like, at the end of the day. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Niharika. And I think one of the silver linings of the lockdown, or of us being circumscribed to our homes, is that how we have stopped fascinating on our social media image of having flamboyant lives and started accepting that our eyebrows are not made, or the lighting might not be perfect for our pictures, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, I think since the past 70 days that India has been under Instagram, I think Instagram has become a little more real. When we've started, we've started doing the daily chores, when we have started accepting the fact that we might just not dress up every day as if we are going to a wedding, into a gala event. People can also have normal lives, and it's equally important to celebrate normalcy at the end of the day. So thank you so much.
I think people have started doing the dishes more. Like, earlier it was just a trend, now it's an actual thing.
Yes. It actually is trending now. The more you're doing dishes, I think your Instagram handle and its followers are going up. Yeah. So I think that is a new KRA for your Instagram to grow. Start doing the dishes at home. So yeah, moving to the next question is, now that you girls have shared your entire journey, what in your personal capacity have you done to call out body shaming, or to make it easier for anybody else who has emerged in your environment who has been body shamed? Bhavya, can we start with you?
Sure. So in my own personal capacity, I've been very honest in real life and in on social media. I've been very honest with my stories. I've been very honest with my opinions. I've been very honest with how I feel. I have always, called out people who do it. When I took this crash diet in which I fainted in my college, so I called out this person who gave me this diet. So this person gave me 10 grams of chana, like raw poha, kacha poha, and who eats it in the breakfast and no lunch and see the dinner. So these things जो pressure डालती हैं, I've always been very honest. Also, I believe that I am the ugly duckling. I get my ways through a lot of turbulence and mess. When I sit, I'm being called out, body shamed, felt very unimportant. But then I move faces. I move these people out of my life, and here I am finding right people, right opportunities in life. So I am the ugly duckling, and I'm very happy that I am so. So I'm very honest.
Thank you, Bhavya. And you are not the ugly duckling. You might be a different duck than the rest of the people, but different is always good. Tejaswini, we'll move to you.
So I realized the concept of body positivity quite later from my actual weight loss journey. Because this acceptance came after a very long time, because even after when I reached my desired weight, I was still obsessed with my weight, of not putting on weight again. I did crash diets. Yes, I did keto as well, but it helped me. I really worked hard. Being a vegetarian, it was very tough for me, but I did it. And then I became more insecure as well. I never used to eat my meals properly for years. Actually, I skipped my meals, but only till I was introduced to the spiritual realm of healing, I realized that I need to work on my inner self, not the external self. And so I healed my inner self. Also, during my healing sessions, when my clients, girls or women comes to me, so I focus on their inner healings rather than their external ones. So this really helped.
Thank you so much, Tejaswini, because it is so important to carry forward the agony that we as women have faced, and to make sure that there is somebody in our environment whose path towards the same journey is easy because of our own example. Thank you for actually trailblazing that way for a number of people in your life. We'll move to you, Vanchika.
So for me personally, I've mentioned before, so I'm not going to go to that again, but it was my mother and the philosophy which I follow, which really pulled me out of it, and my self-determination that no matter what's going to happen now, I'm going to be happy in my own skin. So as I mentioned, I was a president. So I was very fortunate enough that I had certain power in my hand, which let me host some events. So I used this power to call professional nutritionists and dietitians to my college, and they addressed the kids of the sports department because that was under me, and they told the importance of good and proper and the right diet is something which is nutritionist, that's a big game, because I think that's another place where you can mint a lot of money. So I did this in my personal capacity, and also there were a lot of, when I did that, I think I could really connect with people on a very personal level, because I was so shocked because I realized there's so many people battling the same thing. I was fortunate and confident enough to voice it, but not many. So after that, many came to me personally, and I could have like a personal dialogue with them. But at my personal level, I held these sessions, and then I organized fun Zumba workshops, in my little way, because I completely stand for fitness and being fit. That is as I said, Bhavya said, it's subjective. So for me, it is important. So of course, it was optional. It wasn't compulsory, imposing it on the head. So luckily, people were turning up. So I think when fitness is made fun, people do turn up for it. So this is in my way, because when I moved out, I was like, I've moved out of it, but I want to help people moving out of their space too, because it really shatters your confidence and your self-esteem, and they're very essential things in your life. So this is what I did. I try to comfort people through my dialogues, through my journey, and I think I could help them because and it was not just for students, it was for my teachers too. I still remember my HOD of the commerce department. She went like, "Mere thighs kitne mote ho gaye hain," and stuff. And I was like, "Ma'am, it's curvaceous and about the standard beauty. I think it's perfect." And she started smiling, and she said, "Okay, thank you." So I think this is my way to do it. Small steps, but I think that's what it is needed. So yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanshika. Bhavya, we'll move to you.
I'm already done.
Sorry. Apurva, we'll move to you.
So the first thing I did to make body positivity a reality is I accepted myself the way I am, and I also apologized for all those times I hated my body, even for a split second, because you know, despite of being labeled as fat, my body is completely capable of everything. And I also remember receiving a thank you note from a friend from school who was, you know, always bullied, and people made fun of her because she was a little tomboyish and had wheatish complexion. And I used to speak to her for hours just to make her feel better about herself. And later on, when school was over, I actually got a letter from her saying thank you for all those times I took a stand for her. And I think eventually she started doing it for herself, and I feel like it made me feel so much better, and I would always like to do it, you know, whenever somebody wants a little boost in confidence. I would love to do that to make them just feel better about themselves. Yeah.
Thank you.
Apurva, I
Yeah.
totally relate to it. I often get many DMs that, you know, Bhavya, you're very honest in your opinions and very, very, you know, you dress up what you feel like. And I'm really happy to see that you are dressing up the way you feel like. You don't pay heed to opinions, and that's what really gives me happiness.
Yeah.
That people are acknowledging it, and people are, and even a little, I'm inspiring people, even a little, like nevertheless inspiring.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Bhavya. Yashika, we'll move to you, please.
So as I started developing self-acceptance with myself, I really know what it feels like when you are back there, conscious, scared of things, and not going in front of public or trying to portray yourself exactly the way you are. So there were a number of people in my dramatic society who used to be like, we have a stage fear, not because how we'll perform, because how we'll look there. So I used to motivate them with things because I have been to that stage, and I know how horrible it feels to be at that point. And there was my flatmate who was a little bulky. She used to say, "Yaar, formal shorts mein dekha usne kitna mast dress pehna hai. She's so bulky. I can't wear this." So I used to motivate her, "Ki you can. Why can't you? If she can, why can't you? If you like it, you can. And if you want to be slim, so you should start working on yourself if you want, not because of what others want." So I started motivating her. We started working out daily in the morning, and then we started eating healthy because it was what she wanted, not because what society wanted.
Thank you so much. Niharika, we'll move to you.
So I was in a way lucky also because my best friend at university, both of us were facing acne issues. So like I felt like I was not really alone in the boat. And also I've learned that if somebody who hasn't really been in your boat or in your shoes, if they try to comfort you, it's basically of no use because you think it's all because it all comes out from a side of sympathy. And sympathy and pity is something that you don't really want at such point in time. So I feel like after a point both of us just started, you know, like it was a collective effort for both of us because it was a journey, because from being 17 to being 20 and just growing together, it was great. And we also stopped wasting our time and our headspace in what others have to say for us. Like, this is both of us, we come as a duo. You want us, you take us, otherwise you can, it's your loss. That's basically the ideology that we accepted. And I started living my life. It was very comfortable because I had somebody who could understand me and who could, you know, make it better for me. And also it helped us expand our personality, and we started embracing people for more than what their looks had to offer. And we actually made an effort into knowing how the person is like from the inside rather than just how we perceive them from the outer looks. So yeah, that was for me.
Thank you so much, Niharika. Now coming to the last question, which is a fun question for our panel. What will you tell your past self who succumbed to the notion of body consciousness, or succumbed to the various differences in our own bodies? So we start. Sorry, yes.
Before starting the last question, can I show people something which is on my phone?
Yes.
So coming back to that, we wake up very beautiful. I would like to show this picture of Sonam Kapoor. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes.
And this picture says, I need color correction as well. So she means that we don't wake up like this. We don't wake up to perfect skin, perfect body, perfect hair, perfect makeup. They have a huge village behind them. The whole team which is managing, they have the resources. So the next time you go to a party and your makeup is not done, please don't feel bad about it. And
I would also.
Yeah.
Yes, Niharika.
Sorry, continue. What were you saying?
Yeah, please continue, Niharika.
It's also one of the instances from the Golden Globes of Kylie Jenner. Oh, not Kylie Jenner, sorry, Kendall Jenner, where she shows up and she has a lot of acne on one side of her face, and she says in an interview about how she knew people are going to criticize her, but I think that she had a phase of acne from the age of 14 to 20, and then she started having her breakouts again at the age of 21. So like for a whole straight year, she didn't really have any acne, and she forgot the feeling of having acne, and then that was so detrimental to her self-esteem again. And then she just went on about how she should talk about it, she should make it more common, because of how we perceive Kendall Jenner as somebody who's so perfect. She's a Victoria's Secret angel, and she's just a perfect model for us. For a lot of people, she's also a role model. So she talks about it in one of her interviews about how even the most perfect people are not really perfect, and perfection is very subjective, and it's really important to look to another, just swim out of your shallow mind. That's all.
Thank you so much.
Also, I would like to add,
yes,
you know, like just Bhavya said, these people, the celebrities that we look up to, these guys have like a village to, you know, transform themselves. There was this time when obviously an unsocialized advice I got from, you know, like an elderly person saying that, you know, look up to Sara Ali Khan, look at her transformation. But these guys don't understand. They have a village to help them, to transform them. They have all sorts of, you know, equipment, diets, etc. I don't know what all, but, you know, they have so much, they have access to almost everything, and not everyone does. And, you know, people just, you know, give you these stupid advices to do this, that, which are obviously unasked for. So, you know, I would say just stop doing it.
Yeah. Also, I feel like this is the bread. This is how they are going to earn. Like if they don't look good, it's going to be somebody else. So it's just the notion that in the cinema industry we have that, oh, you need to be perfect, otherwise you're out, somebody's in. So I guess it's just hard for them as well. I'm sure they don't want to live that way, but they have to.
Apurva and Niharika, I'd like to point that Sara Ali Khan has Yasmin Karachiwala to manage her, to you know, all the nutritionists. But when I hit the gym, the person who, my trainer, he doesn't pay heed. He just says, okay, fine, ye set karo, wo set karo, ye set karo, and goes back to the boys. So, you know, when it comes to gender and fitness, so Sara Ali Khan has all the Yasmin Karachiwala and stuff. But for us, I mean, that we need that 1 hour the trainer really gives importance to us, really pays attention to us, but it doesn't happen. So, you know, these unrealistic comparisons, it should stop. It should stop right away.
And when I started gymming, there was no woman trainer who could train me with the weight training, because when I started gymming, weight training wasn't for women. So I have to help myself. And there are various other organizations which are working within India and abroad to promote body positivity. Like Dove has started 2 major campaigns, Real Beauty and Girl Self-Esteem. Also, Zivame has come across advocating all body sizes, which is a very brilliant choice. Dove has started working along UNICEF on self-esteem and body confidence from Dove self-esteem projects, which will be reaching out to 35 million of young generation. Also, there are big brands like CVS and Razor company Billy taking strides to promote body positivity images in their campaign. So it's a very good start. And we can promote these programs as well.
We are also trying. So Azad Initiative is also on that list now, I think.
Yeah,
That's why we are here. We can share our journey.
absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing your views on how we are supposed to advance this cause. Now, coming to the last question, which is actually a fun question. What will you tell your past self, a past self of yours, which succumbed to body consciousness, which succumbed to body toxicity? What will be that one line you will tell your past self? Niharika, we'll start with you.
I would just like to, knowing me how I was, I think nothing is going to comfort, anything that is being said is going to comfort me. But all I would like to say is don't cry as much as you did about the same thing over and over again, because crying didn't help. And I think it just caused more mental blockages to even my parents. And don't cry. Eventually it gets better. When mom says that it will get better, it will get better. Okay, it won't get better for the next party that you have to attend. Just deal with it. You can't really do anything. This is nature. You can't fight nature. But yeah, just be it. Even if it takes 6 months or 6 years, it's going to be better. Eventually, it just gets better. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you, Niharika. Tejaswini, will move to you.
So to my younger self, I would tell her that I love you. And I would tell her that you're very beautiful, special in your own way, and you're one of a kind. Stay strong and be a rebel, because I've always been. And do not lose yourself in the chaos made by society. I would tell her to live every single day like a blessing and eat whatever she wants to, love as she wants to, and rebellious in her choices.
Wonderful, Tejaswini. Bhavya, we'll move to you.
Yes. So, dear 16 years old Bhavya, please go easy on yourself and your body. Better days are ahead. Sorry. If you want to get ready for a wedding while eating chips, go ahead, because your eating chips won't stop the fears of the bride and the groom. You will wear a backless dress in the coming years and you will rock the look. Go for it. Your achievements will speak for yourself. At every step, you will be pointed out. But just smile at them, wear that little black dress that you want to, and keep marching forward.
Thank you so much, Bhavya. Vanchika, we'll move to you.
I would say to me, I would say a lot of things, but to sum it up, I will say that Vanshu, you're enough to get yourself out of this place. Please don't seek validation in others. Your potential cannot be confined in this mortal physical skin. You much more and beyond this. Just be happy, just keep shining, and just keep doing things which will make you happy. People will speak, let it go. You're much above this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanchika. Apurva?
So I think I would say just ignore what people are saying, because kuch to log kahenge, logo ka kaam hai kehna. And just eat the donut, put your positive pants on, and play the happy track and dance your worries away. That's it.
Thank you so much, Apurva. And now Yashika, yeah, what will you tell your younger self?
I would just like to say, don't worry, little one. I'm there to hold you now. Every time you were conscious, you were scared of people talking about you, had made me grow up with more confidence and more self-acceptance with a beautiful smile.
Thank you so much, everyone. And that's the end of the panel discussion from our side. If the attendees want to ask a question to the entire panel, or they want to ask to one of the panelists in particular, we are very eager to hear from you. So either there is an open chat box available, you can write the question there, but if you could personally ask them, it is even better. Yes, Kritika.
Hi everyone, I'm Kritika. I am 32 years old, so you girls are pretty younger to me now. I have been listening to all of you from last 1 hour, and I really feel that you all are the crux of my life story all through. As I mentioned it yesterday to Pallavi also, that I have been facing this through childhood. So when you come up to fat, I was a fat child. When you come up to wheatish, I am a wheatish girl. When you come up to bad metabolism, I have a bad metabolism. I have a sore, husky voice. It actually became a point to everyone. Then, above all, I also got specs at a very tender age of 5. That was a default when I was born. So the doctor said, "Ki bhai lag jayega." Then acne, yes. There was a time जब मैं शीशे के सामने खड़े होके literally रोती थी कि चेहरे पे इतने acnes क्यों हैं. So and above all, जो हमारे probably पल्लवी के banner में था masculine. I was a typical tomboy. मतलब लोग कहते थे गलती से लड़की पैदा हो गई है. So now I'm 32, a mother of a 4-year-old. Nothing to ask for, nothing. I don't have a specific question. I just have one thought after listening to all, that the question that Pallavi asked, ki, what will you say to your past? So I would say, thanks that you came to me and made me stronger. Because जब तक experience नहीं होता, तब तक हमें नहीं पता चलता कि life है क्या. Until unless वो आता नहीं, पता नहीं चलता कि face कैसे होता. Yes, हमें ये नहीं भूलना चाहिए कि what is our body type, what is the DNA that we are carrying. Because अगर हम मोटे हैं और हमारे माँ बाप मोटे हैं, अगर हमें certain issues हैं क्योंकि हमारे माँ बाप को भी वो issues हैं, तो we have to be very careful that वो चीजें हमारे में आ सकती हैं. चाहे वो पतले होके बीमारियां हो, चाहे वो मोटे होके बीमारियां हो. I have been into a joint family of 5 girls in the house, and I was the fattest. I am married into a family where all the probably a few of them know my family, but all the daughter-in-laws are slim except me. So the competition still lies. But मैं अपने आप को काट नहीं सकती, मैं अपने आप को मार नहीं सकती. I will always stay the way I am. Sometime and hats off to the credits that goes to my father, because we were 3 sisters and I was the fatter one. मैंने यहाँ तक सुना है यार कितनी मोटी है, थोड़ी पतली हो जा यार, तेरे को लड़का कैसे मिलेगा, अपनी बहनों को देख, तुझे एक्ने क्यों है यार, आज लड़का भी मिला, प्यार करने वाला लड़का मिला, अच्छी फैमिली मिली और आई एम हैप्पी. So it is all about how do you take things on yourself and not how do people are giving you things. If you love yourself, nothing in the world can change you. Yes, since you guys are at your early 20s, your metabolism is at the peak. Jitna you will play with it, you will go slim, you will go fat, you go fitter, whatever you want. But the time, the way you will grow up, your metabolism will go down, the body will. We are blessed with something called tricky hormones or cheating hormones, which will keep on playing their roles. So as the very good point that Vanshika put up, it's very important to be accepting, but accepting with wisdom. ये सोच के नहीं मैं ऐसी हूँ चल जाएगा, कहीं ना कहीं टाइम के साथ that will affect your body. That will tell you कि भाई अब टाइम आ गया है, सीरियस हो जाओ. Because कई बार हम accepting में अपनी सच्चाई भूल जाते हैं. I know my mother is a thyroid patient. I know that arthritis runs into my family. I know मेरी बाकी दोनों बहनें पतली हैं और मैं मोटी हूँ, तो कहीं ना कहीं मुझे ये चीजें आ सकती हैं. और मैं आज ये सोच के खुश हो जाऊँ कि चलो ठीक है, मैं तो ऐसी हूँ. But I know that the moment I turn 40, this will hit me. So I am an idiot to close my eyes कि नहीं मैंने तो accept किया हुआ है. This acceptance is not acceptable to your own self. So it is very important that you should be very, very careful with how do you proceed. So that's
Thank you so much, Kritika Di. Thank you so much. It's very, very inspiring.
Because मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि सब ऐसा आ रहा है जो मैंने पिछले 15 साल से या 20 साल से या since the time I was born, अभी भी सब कुछ है, उसके बाद अब मुझे स्पेक्स लग गए हैं. And above all, I'll tell you, I've always also been a sufferer of premature graying. I have an Indira Gandhi strip here, which I have to color every month, and it started at the age of 12. I was a hairy child. जबकि मैंने वैक्सिंग जाके करी जब मेरे टीन्स खत्म होने वाले थे, और मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता था. Because when I see to the society, the under, I'll say the handicapped society, जब वो कुछ ना होकर भी इतना कुछ कर सकते हैं, तो हमारे पास तो भगवान ने भी, they've given us good hands, good legs, good face, good body. So why not we take it like that? There are millions of people who are way behind us, who have something or the other which is less. So if we have something, we should actually cherish that.
Yeah.
The importance also increases when you don't have something, and when you get it, like you just cherish it more.
If you just
like,
keep looking to yourself and not compare yourself to anyone else, that's what matters. Sometimes I am a very outspoken person in the society. Sometimes I think that I don't know how people take me, how people accept me. But if I'm not hurting anyone, if I'm not saying anything to pull anyone down, if I'm not saying anything that will really cause harm to anyone, it doesn't matter. It is very important for you to raise up your voice where you are right. In any
and also
manner.
we end up comparing our vulnerabilities with somebody's perfections. Like if we have something that, like if I have acne, I'll see somebody does not have acne but might have other issues, but I'll still focus on the point that, oh, I have acne and the person does not have acne. So like we end up comparing the wrong way also.
These are certain things will definitely happen to us. अभी मेरा चेहरा देख के किसी को ऐसा लग रहा है कि एक टाइम था मेरा ये वाला गाल पूरा एक्ने में था. But those are hormones. You can't change your hormones. That will everyone's body is different. Everyone's parents' DNAs are different. Everything is different in every person. So we should stop comparing. And yes, as I mentioned, wisdom is important, because agar at the age of, don't mind me mentioning that, but agar hum at the age of 18, 20, 22, हम बोलें कोई बात नहीं, और 30-32 पे आके कहीं ना कहीं हमारा माइंड अटकेगा कि अगर 20 पे ही सीरियस हो जाते तो 30 पे ये हालत नहीं होती. तो कहीं ना कहीं we being women and we have such a different body structure, whether you have babies, whether you don't have babies, whether you get married or whether you don't get married, eventually our body does changes with time. कहीं बहुत कम लोग आदमियों में सुना होगा हार्मोनल इम्बैलेंस है, बट हमारा हार्मोन इम्बैलेंस तो द मोमेंट हमारे पीरियड्स शुरू होते हैं वो शुरू हो जाता है.
And we tend to forget that human bodies are the most complex machines. And
I would just
and ultimately
so as I was seeing everyone around कि हाँ मोटे थे, पतले थे, गोरे थे, ये था वो था, मेरे पास सब कुछ था और साथ में मैं एक टॉमबॉय थी. तो मेरे पास ये फेज भी आया था कि no one will like her, no one will date her. ये तो बहुत ही in 2 terms बोलूं तो ये तो बहुत ही मर्दानी है यार, ऐसी ही हूँ. I know when I was doing my masters and I went abroad to study, I was the only girl in London amongst my friends जो clubs में hoodies और trousers पहन के जाती थी, hoodies और denims पहन, क्योंकि मेरे confidence ही नहीं था. So a friend told me कि चल तुझे हम तैयार लेके जाते हैं ड्रेस पहनाने के लिए, चल चलते हैं हम तेरे को शॉपिंग कराते हैं. You really need such friends in your life who actually make you learn. And they took me to Debenhams. They made me shop dresses. I tried them. I'm like, I can wear them. Yeah, इतनी भी मोटी नहीं हूँ, और अगर मोटी भी हूँ तो इतनी भी D-shaped नहीं हूँ. So that's how. And then it was somewhere, the real change that came to me was around my 24, where a guy friend of mine said कि तू अपने आप को बर्बाद क्यों कर रही है? You should actually work on yourself so that people are jealous with you. Not that you are jealous with people. Be it in any manner. So if you're broad structured, Sonakshi Sinha जितना मर्जी कर ले, वो चौड़ी ही रहेगी. अगर किसी का सी सेट हुआ है, किसी का प्रेगनेंसी के बाद पतले हुए हैं, तो न्यूज में ये तो आ जाता है कि वो पतली हो गई है, वो मोटी हो गई है। उसका साइकिल क्या था, उसकी सफरिंग्स क्या थी, ये कोई मीडिया नहीं कवर करता, ना कोई मेंशन करता है। So it's better just love yourself and be thankful that you're blessed with a beautiful body, a complete body, and a happy body. I think.
Thank you so much, Kritika, for actually sharing your entire journey. And it is really inspiring.
Can I?
Sorry.
Mm.
Yes, Chandni, please go ahead.
Yeah. Can I quickly add something? Since we're all talking about body positivity, and I feel it's a wonderful subject to talk about, because I think it's very vital that all of us are aware of the impact of body positivity. Because those of us who don't have issues of body positivity are also kind of impacted by it. Like me, for once, like I have had friends who've been shamed, and I have taken special care to always be there for them, to support them, to give them confidence in whichever way possible. But on the contrary, what's happened is they've made me feel less about myself. Like, as I think Yachika spoke in the beginning, that all her talents were belittled because of the way she looked. Right. So has happened with me. Even if I've topped the class, it's always been, oh, you look this way, did you post a picture in the answer script? Or, you know, if I've walked into school looking a certain way, nobody's taken me seriously for my academics or my sports or whatever. And somewhere I started to sell myself short. I made a special, I took a special effort to not dress up whenever I would hang out with friends who felt a little underconfident about themselves. I would not be the way I would otherwise be with friends and around friends who didn't feel very confidently. And that in turn impacted me, because what happens now is that people don't take people seriously who look a certain way also. So there's a negative impact going around also. So it's not just that, you know, you're body shamed for a particular flaw, but I think in general, everybody is shamed, no matter what. Even if you look a certain way, you don't look a certain way, there's a problem with everything. I remember an instance where we were just driving around and we were stopped by cops because my friend jumped the red light. And she immediately looked at me and she told me, you know, he stopped us because you're wearing shorts. And I'm like, how could he even look into the car from like almost half a kilometer away? Mm-hmm. So I have somewhere started to, you know, like every time I go to the gym, there are people who will be like, oh, why are you wearing makeup to gym? And I don't. I mean, I don't. And I constantly catch myself proving myself to people that, oh, you know what, I'm not wearing makeup, or this is my natural self, or I'm not putting in an extra effort. And I find that ridiculous now, because why should I have to prove myself of looking a certain way or being a certain way? So more than body shaming, I think the entire emphasis should be on body positivity and how each one should really feel confident about themselves the way they are. Because once that starts happening, you will subconsciously not shame another person. If you are confident in your own skin, you are happy being who you are, you will not end up shaming another person. You will not want to do that. So my question here is, how do I deal with this precarious situation I am in? Because I, for a fact, have a lot of people who have been shamed. And unlike you people, you know, like you all have set an example and you're doing whatever you can in your capacity to build a stronger community amongst yourselves and around yourselves, and educating people about it and making them feel more secure. But there are people who have been shamed, yet they don't understand the agony of it and they inflict it upon others. So how do I deal with that then? Because I don't want to, you know, outrightly be very rude to them or anything, but at the same time, I don't want to sell myself short even. So it's a very precarious balance there. So how do you deal with something like that?
Maybe one of the Chani would like to take up this question.
Chanidi, you need to set your boundaries very well and very straight. I mean, if you are a certain way, then you have to deflect it. In no point you have to be inferior or superior to them. You are who you are, and that's it. I mean, you have to set boundaries ultimately. Pallavi, do you want to add in?
I think Kritika wants to chime in. Yes, Kritika?
Hi, Jani.
Hi.
Hi. So, she probably knows me pretty well now because we've been around the same circle. So yes, she's been around. She is extremely good looking. and she has a very good point कि कई बार when people are appreciating you कि नहीं आप बहुत अच्छे हो, जरूरी नहीं है they're directly appreciating you, somewhere or the other हो सकता है mind में कुछ और चल रहा हो कि हम क्यों नहीं ऐसे हैं. So a person जो खुद से खुश नहीं है, only वही वो ऐसा काम करेगा जो किसी और को pull down करेगा. And when you ask up covering up, so in my suggestion, I think you should not stop raising your voice. You can do that, but probably don't protect the person in front of that person. And जो वो तीसरा इंसान, whoever is doing that shaming, you can go and talk to that person later on that you should not do that, so that you can also deliver your message and help your friend whom you want to, and that friend also doesn't gets to know that he's been helped. क्योंकि कई बार हमारी अच्छाई हमारे ऊपर भारी पड़ जाती है.
Yeah, Vanshika.
So when
I would like to add.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes.
Am I audible? Yeah.
So when I was standing for the elections of my president. No, I'll go after you. It's fine. Go ahead.
Sorry. So it basically started like what I actually personally do is, hope this helps you as well if you try. You start take it in other fun way. So I'll just quote an example over here. Like suppose me and Bhavya are standing next to each other, and then some people or the other starts commenting on us. So I would rather take it in a fun way. Ki, oh wow, that's so nice. We can together make an Oreo. So taking things in other way can make you be positive about things.
That's nice.
Thank you so much, everybody. And Chandni, maybe I think in the coming out sessions, in the remaining sessions that we have, we would like to discuss this particular point further, that people who are allies to people who are going through body positivity could themselves be a victim of being just the perfect definition of what the Indian standards of beauty are.
Because sometimes then they refuse to look beyond that.
Yes.
So that is also, because I have been asked in my past that, what are your struggles? What dresses to wear? And no, that's disastrously belittling. That those are not my struggles. You know nothing about my struggles. Just because you perceive me to be a certain way does not mean that that is all you limit my struggle to. So, I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should reckon this particular topic in individuality, and we would definitely want to chime it in the succeeding sessions that we have. But as of now, I would like to call it a day, because we were actually planning this session for an hour and a half, but we have stepped to 2 hours, and we thank you, each one of you, for having patience with all of us, for actually making this session extremely engaging and sharing your own personal stories. And we hope to see you in our succeeding sessions also. And thank you for taking out your Sunday for us, and have a good day. Thank you.
Thanks, Pallavi.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.